How do we start singing harmony without losing our tune? Maybe it's with other people, maybe it's with yourself. I'm going to be sharing 3 simple strategies that have personally helped me with harmony so you can actually sing some harmony. Check it out. Hey everyone, welcome to Singing Simply. My name is Ivan, and on this podcast, on this show, we're here to demystify learning how to sing and make it as simple and as easy as possible for you, because let's face it, learning how to sing can feel confusing. It can feel frustrating. If this sounds like something that is up your lane, then make sure to hit that subscribe and follow, because every Friday we'll be releasing a tutorial to help you along this journey. So make sure to stay subscribed. Now, today's question actually came from a follower of mine on TikTok, I believe. And the question was this: how do I get started with harmony, and how do I start to sing in harmony without losing my tune? And so let's maybe start with why this is important. Now, some of you might think this is obvious, but why is it actually important for us to be able to sing in harmony? Now, the reality is, chances are if you're singing, you might be singing with some other people, singing some duets, maybe singing in a choir, singing in a group. Harmony is going to be one of those skills that's going to allow you to blend and add some additional colors, some flavors into the music that you're doing and actually sound good, right? This is why harmony is important. Now, even if you aren't singing with anyone, maybe you're a soloist, maybe you're recording your own music, or you're kind of doing things on your own, learning to sing harmony is also still a useful skill, because often in the music that you're listening to right now, there isn't just one vocal concurrently. Sometimes you've got layers, you've got stacks of vocals, which often have a harmony element to it. They're singing different melodies and they're putting them together in a way that sounds really, really good. And so this is why harmony is important no matter who you are as a singer. Before we jump into some of the strategies to help you develop this skill, let's quickly talk about what even is harmony. Some of you might be confused, some of you might be, super clear on this, right? Let's make sure we are all on the same page. So all harmony is 2 or more notes that when you put together, it sounds good. That's all there is. Now, the reason why I'm sharing it like this is sometimes people will overcomplicate it. They'll be talking about all these complex kind of intervals, all these complex kind of things. But if we think about what harmony is, it's just 2 or more notes put together that sound good. Now, this hopefully gives you some freedom to explore and to expand your sense of music, because all you now need to do is just find something that sounds good, right? That is the goal. So let's talk about some strategies on building harmony. Now, strategy number 1, just guess around. Now, the reason why I'm sharing this is when I first started learning how to sing, I used to think harmony had to be these crazy complex kind of things, maybe looking at those crazy kind of voicings where, they're playing chords like all these different kinds of sounds, right? And I thought I had to do that to understand harmony. Now, what I realized is harmony can be as complex or as simple as you make it out to be. Chances are you've already been exposed to this concept. Why don't we just start off with finding a certain note on the piano? Just one note. And I'm going to try guess a note that might sound good. And if some of you have seen my previous kind of tutorials on pitch matching, the key here is to slide around. Slide around until you find something that sounds good. Okay, that's the same note. Okay, I feel like that sounds decent as well. This kind of feeling of the sounds kind of clicking in. Guess what? I found some harmony. And it's as simple as that. And in fact, if some of you are doing your scales, little bonus trick is you can use some of the scales you're already using to practice your voice to find harmony, which means if you can figure out what that original note is, just sing your scales. Up. And all of a sudden, I was just kind of singing up the scale, figuring out what might click in. That note on the top, that 5th one, we call it a 5th in singing, that actually felt good, right? And all I was doing was just singing a basic scale. This is one way you can start building harmony. You can just guess around. And if you've got that knowledge of some scales, if you've done some basic work here, you can also use them to figure out notes that can sound good. This is actually a technique that I use in one of my recent songs, Oceans, right? This is a song that had a lot of, harmonies, a lot of stacks in it, which we'll be talking about in tip number 3. And all of it was basically just me guessing around, figuring out what sounds good, giving myself permission to experiment. And I want to encourage you to be in that same boat, be an explorer, be an experimenter, and just guess around. This is one of the fastest ways to build your harmony. Now, strategy number 2, understand what we mean by scales and what we mean by chords. And I can already hear some of you going crazy. Music theory, oh my gosh, my head is gonna explode. Like some people just, think music theory is all kinds of mad science, but music theory can be a very, very useful tool, especially if you know what to look for. And so today I really want to expose you to these 2 words, which is key or a scale, and then also this idea of chords. Because harmony, one way you can think of it is like this. With music, there's a lot of different pitches you can sing. There's all these different pitches that you can actually sing. But, how do we start to choose which ones sound good? How do we start to eliminate and decide which ones sound good together? Now, the cool part is music theory has figured a lot of this out. The first idea is this idea of scales, which means if I play something called the C major scale, which you're absolutely familiar with, which is all the white keys on the piano, and I go, this is actually a scale. This is actually a key. This is actually called C major. Now, what this actually means is basically music theory has helped me decide that, all these white keys sound pretty good together, right? They sound pretty good together. And so if I play, if I kind of jam and just play all these white keys together in the key of C, they will tend to sound pretty good. This is why understanding keys is really important. It allows you to choose what notes work well together quicker. Now, the second part of this is this idea of chords, which means within this scale, within this key or within those white keys in the key of C, if I just choose a couple of keys and I put them together, I'm going to start off with the C, I might add a E, I might add a G. If I put them together, they start to sound pretty good together. I might even just choose another note on top. I might choose a B. Just me choosing 4 notes from this simple scale. I'm kind of putting them together. All of a sudden, I get a pretty cool kind of sound. This is a chord. In fact, this is called the C major 7. And all I did is from the key of C, which has already helped me eliminate a lot of the notes on the piano, and looking at, just the white keys and choosing a couple of notes from them, I've now created some basic harmony. And so how you can start to apply this is do some basic research. Go on to Google and just search up what is a key, what is C major, what is D major. There's plenty of resources out there. And then practice combining multiple notes together and just exploring what that might sound like. Understanding these basic music theory concepts is going to help you go a lot further when you are working on your harmony as a singer. Now, strategy number 3, the last one, is create vocal stacks. Create vocal stacks. And this is such an important way to help develop your harmony, especially when you don't always have people around you who are singers. This is something that I actually applied a lot when I was creating my first single, Tell Me Lies, and I actually did the same thing with Oceans as well, which is I actually wasn't that good with harmony when I first started creating music. I could sing some notes, I could do some cool stuff, but I couldn't really sing harmony that well. Not until I started playing with this idea of vocal stacks. Now, what this actually means is you just jump into a DAW. Maybe it's GarageBand, maybe it's Audacity. If you're not sure what a DAW is, basically it is a program that allows you to record music, make music. And on this track, Tell Me Lies or Oceans, I started recording multiple layers of vocals. All I did was I just guessed around. I tried to figure out what that original note was, and I just guessed around, right? And then I also, because I knew some of my basic music theory, I figured out what key it was. I was able to guess faster because I knew what keys I could guess from. I knew what the scale was, and then I just chose other notes from that scale. And because of this allowed me to create these harmonies much, much faster. And so I encourage you to do this, right? Which is jump into GarageBand, jump into, FL Studio, Ableton, whatever it is, or maybe even Audacity. And I want you to experiment with creating vocal stacks, recording simple vocals and just stacking them one over another. And this is going to allow you to start training your ears and apply everything you've learned in terms of the music theory, in terms of just kind of guessing around, apply that all into some music. And so these are the 3 strategies. Number 1, just guess around. Don't be afraid to guess around. This is one of the fastest ways to learn. Then understand some basic music theory because that's going to help you guess faster. It'll help you isolate a lot of the notes that are actually going to be good for your harmony. And then number 3, apply this into vocal stacks, creating stacks of vocals that blend well together in a digital audio workstation. And remember, all I've done so far is shared how you build some basic harmonies. But remember, team, rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. The more you do this, the more you apply to more complex melodies, the more you apply to an entire track, the better you will get at these harmonies. Even potentially when you're singing live, you can actually start to improvise and add some harmony live. And so the sky is the limit here, but you need to put in that work. And by the way, team, don't feel like you have to do this on your own. If you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling like you want to improve faster with your singing, I'm going to be dropping a link into the description below on how you can get in contact with me or for singing lesson inquiries. Apart from that, team, remember, you are not your limitations, and I'll see you for our next episode next Friday. Take care.